Well,
Perfect Turd Podcast, episode 281, Lamar Cutters Club.
Joe, recently we just found this out
Mm-hmm.
that this movie just got released, even though it was shot 20 years ago, and it featured, rest in peace, Tony Todd. Yeah, it was just pretty much you said it was financial trouble that this
Yeah,
movie was
they,
in.
they didn't finish it because of financial trouble. It got
Yeah.
lost. They found the film at some point and they decided
Yep.
to re-release it or release it, I guess, as a tribute to Tony Todd.
hmm
Well, Lamar, let's get right into it. What did we think of this story?
Well, Tony Todd, he plays George, who's a doctor. And then what's the woman's name? I can't remember the woman's name. Well, she has a boyfriend named Jack, and they're trying to be surgeons. And she gets a call from George saying, "Hey, I want you to help out with this thing that I'm starting, this group." And what she finds out is that this new group is a bunch of surgeons who are trying to bring people back to life.
Yeah,
Or not bring people back to life, but bring a monster to life with
yeah,
dead body parts.
yeah. And they're in
Yeah.
some kind of like cult together.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
no, I like the story
Yeah.
actually, and it's very much a full moon. Like it goes along with all the other stuff that they do really well. So story
Mm-hmm.
wise, I thought it was fun. It was short,
It was.
but I'm wondering if it was short because it was missing footage. Maybe they didn't have all the footage yet, and it
That's
seems like
probably
it
what it
it
is.
ends on a cliffhanger, and I'm not sure if it was meant to end that way either. But maybe
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
mean,
questions.
it is a lot of questions because it's kind of like the Frankenstein, you know. It's Frankenstein with a cult,
Yeah.
basically. That's what it is. And like you said, it's shorter. It doesn't drag too much, I don't
No.
think. I think it's one of those things where it's like, it wasn't a complete movie, so there was more to be had.
Yeah, what it seems like. You could tell, like, maybe there's some parts missing still or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you give it for story, Lamar?
Yeah, I'll give it a one.
One? I'll give it a one as well. I
Yes.
enjoyed it. Well, our next category, Lamar, is what do we think of the characters?
Well, let's just go ahead and say Tony Todd is George. He's chewing the scenery, as you
Yeah,
would
he
say.
is.
He's very much into this role. The doctor is crazy. He's obsessed with this woman. He hates Jack because she's with him now.
Yeah.
He's very obsessed with his research and stuff like that. His performance, yeah, he's just saying some wild stuff, and then everybody else is just reacting to him,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty much all Tony Todd in this one. Like, and his character is like, it's not just that he's obsessed with her and obsessed with his work, but like he's just like a little crazy overall. Like he's emotionally unstable just in general, the character, and
Mm-hmm.
he's even frantically like doing work with both hands, writing with both hands. That was kind of funny.
He has a dual personality.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, like the rest of the characters, I wasn't really impressed with, but he's so big in this movie. I'll give it a 1 point for Tony Todd.
Very true. Yeah, he carries this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lamar, next category is what do we think of the monster that they created?
Okay. Now, the monster was not one of Full Moon's best.
No.
It was like pretty much it looked two big turds put together with faces, and it didn't do too much, really.
No.
Yeah.
You know what my bigger problem with the monster was? It was film logic in the sense that these people are all supposed to be like master surgeons, but they could not put together like this creature where it still looked like rinky dink. So
That's very true. Do you think maybe behind the scenes they had like, hey, we got this thing, let's, you know, try to make it work?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what it was. It was more than likely like a budget thing or something. But just me watching it, I was like, wait a minute, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Eh, what do you give it for the monster?
Giving it a 0.
I agree. I'll have to give it a 0 for monster. Well, our next category, though, Lamar, is the special effects.
I mean, other than the monster, they had blood every once in a while, but it was
Yeah,
very little.
yeah. There were some other creatures that were special effects. They were like more like puppets type
Yeah,
stuff.
but it was still meh, meh, eh.
Yeah, I think you could tell like with this movie that it was like the movie in general was like they were having maybe a difficult time making it. They were kind of using whatever, but it wasn't necessarily on par with the rest of what we get from Full Moon, especially with the puppets and the puppet master.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good with that. But it wasn't insultingly bad either. So I'll give it a half a point.
I'm right there with you, half a point.
Well, Lamar, next category. Now, this movie, like we said, it kind of ends abruptly.
Yes.
Might have been on purpose, might have been for other reasons why it didn't get finished or whatever. Does this movie have potential for a sequel after all these years to pick up at least the concept? Obviously, Tony Todd is dead, but
Yeah, I think you could do a sequel. Here's how you do the sequel.
okay.
For some reason, the hospital becomes like, I don't know, like a trade school or something like that. And unbeknownst to nobody, the monster is hidden in the walls and stuff like that. And maybe they find some old research from Tony Todd's George character,
Yeah.
and then they find out that this monster is down there. So now they have to hunt down the monster, which is completed now. And they have to, find out what this monster is because it's just killing people for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, you could
Yeah.
do that. I think it would be like, I think they should do like the Terminator route. Well, like this research caused like or not this research, but this experiment that these people were doing led to like more research.
Oh.
And like that, what used to be a school to train surgeons now became like this research center where they were doing this kind of crazy experiments of regenerating the people. And then it gets out of hand. And all these monsters are like on the loose and stuff. And then they
Kind
got
of
to
like
go
that.
back in time, Lamar, and
That's where you lost
they
me,
have to
goddammit.
stop the original monster, the one that we don't like, before, and they have to destroy him. However, when they destroy him, they didn't destroy all of him. Like his finger survives, so that they can keep making sequels because they never actually are able to destroy the research facility.
You know what? It's one step forward and two steps back, Joe. You had me with your other premise. You know that.
I'm just trying to teach you about like time loops. You
I
can go back
understand
in
time
time and
loops.
destroy the monster, but if a little bit of his DNA survives, then in the future, the research facility will continue to exist in other ways. So then they have to go back in time again to a different timeline and try to terminate that monster.
Like I said, one step forward, two steps back, Joe.
I'm trying.
Hey, you definitely are. I applaud the
You
effort.
just don't like time travel, Lamar. That's your
I don't
problem.
like it too much, no. Certain instances, maybe, but I feel like now we're on a tangent. Time travel, I feel like, is one of those where it's like it can be very good or very bad. And I feel like a lot of the times it's just a very easy plot scapegoat. We'll just go back in time. Like,
What if I go back in time to when you were a little boy and teach you to like time travel at an early age?
you can go ahead and do it, Joe.
All right. What if we go back in time and rate this category of what sequel potential?
Ah, I'll give it one.
I'll give it a 1 point for sequel,
Yes.
especially if they use my idea with time travel and all.
Good Lord.
Well, Lamar, we've tallied the score, and this movie gets a 3.5 out of 5.
This movie is basically carried by its premise and Tony Todd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely say definitely watch it. It's on
Mm-hmm.
Tubi. It's been released after 20 years. Watch it for Tony Todd
Yeah.
because he really is fun in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Does that wrap it up then, Lamar?
It does.
Peace.
Deuces.